All right, good morning, bows and bow ties. So, look, if you see me adjusting my mouth, it's because I just finished eating, and yeah, that's that. So, I just want to hee haw for a moment because, I was on that clock app, and everyone's in there complaining. Why is France like totally sucking balls right now? Now, I'm not talking about them just in general. I am talking in reference to the Olympics. They're a one big old cluster. On the one hand, they have that remarkable story of Leon Marchand. You know, he's like the next coming of Michael Phelps. He's trained under Michael Phelps, I think, coach or something like that. I can't remember. Um, he won a gold medal over the weekend. But then you have the cluster of how Kayla Namor is going to go compete for Algeria, and she posted a monster score on bars in gymnastics. She's not playing. I mean, she's not competing for the country of France. So now France didn't even make the team final, and had they had Kayla Namor, bars specialist, they would have been in there. So now their Olympics is done. See, that's what happens when you're like anti-Muslim or something like that. I think that's what they were saying. I'm not so sure exactly why, but Kayla was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and compete for Algeria." And she's like a phenom. Like she's basically the runaway to win the bars when it comes to the individual. But yeah, but the bigger story is the shenanigans of the Olympics, meaning they called themselves in the name of sustainability, um, basically cheaped out on everything. See, first of all, they got the athletes, sleeping on these little hard cardboard beds. And so, they've got cardboard beds. They don't have any air. And the food is this whole situation. Now, of course, the divas and divos of places like, the United States, Australia, maybe Great Britain, especially the US, was like, oh, absolutely the F not. They had to go out and get extra, like, pillow toppers or whatever for their mattresses. They've ordered air conditioning. And so my understanding is, from what I've heard, is that they call themselves running cool water through the walls so that they don't have to have air conditioning. But they were like, it's like 79 degrees in there. The athletes can't sleep. I'm like, yo, so the US is not playing that. They went and got like air conditioners for their athletes, pillow toppers. But look, like the NBA guys, they're staying someplace completely different. That's my understanding. So they're not gonna put up with that. But then it's like they were talking about the whole cafeteria situation. They're like, it's all about being sustainable, plant-based diet. Well, these athletes are like, we need our carbs, we need some eggs, and we need some meat. And they are running out of the eggs and meat and all that good stuff. So now I think I was on TikTok and someone was like saying that Great Britain was like, do not eat the food in the village. I'm like, oh my gosh, you cannot expect these athletes to perform and the rooms are hot. You can't even sleep. The beds are like are hard as it's like, really. I mean, I've seen so many TikToks that people are like, all right, look, Sweden. I mean, no, I'm sorry, it was Switzerland. They were complaining. They were like, what is this? Now, let me just say this: the one thing that the U.S. is not gonna play games with is like, we like our air. I'm sitting here in the car now. Let me tell you this kind of shenanigans I do because I don't know. Maybe I'm going through the change. Now, I haven't done this today, but my air is on in my car. But a lot of times I'll have my air on and my seat heaters on. I don't know. I don't know. It makes me feel good. And it is a requirement for me in a car. I'm like, I need to have seat heaters and good AC and a sunroof. So like during the summer, I don't use my sunroof. I like to keep everything closed because it gives me more shade. And in the winter, I like everything open, not like actually open, but the cover for it. I like all the sunlight in. I'm just kind of like, how can you be this tacky either it's like they call themselves trying to be sustainable. I don't know if it has anything to do with the fact that, Africa was like, we're not giving you any more of our resources. I don't know. What I do know is the US is like, absolutely the F not. It could be part of their whole program. Maybe they're just like, yo, if we don't give them air, food, or places to stay, I mean, like the basics, they'll perform poorly and we can win. All I know is France is acting out. You cannot host an Olympics. You cannot host the Summer Olympics and not feed people. Maybe that's their way of re-stimulating the rest of the economy. I don't know. It could all be part of. France is the op in their own country. France is the op. What I do know is the U.S. is like, we're not doing this. I don't even think the men are staying in the village. I don't think the men from the NBA men, they're like, no, it's a mess. It's a whole mess. You guys should get out there on that clock app and find out what's going on. But that's pretty much it. France is sucking balls. They done pissed off the one girl, so now she's competing for Algeria. Algeria, okay? Oh my gosh. Oh, and then they were talking about the water. They were talking about the Seine River. Now, I'm like, yo, it wasn't just that. Like, people had to dive in some of these waters and stuff like that. They were like, the water is no longer looking blue, it's looking brown. I was like, yo, this is so messed up on so many levels. They were talking about the depth of the pool. Somebody mentioned that, and I don't know how true this is. They're talking about the depth of the pool is different. So normally you want to have it at 3 meters. They said it's at 2 meters. Now I don't know if that's true, but they're saying like if you're like swimming, that's one thing, but if you're doing water polo, I was like, my goodness. All I have to say, because they do all these intricate things underneath the water. So I guess they need a certain amount of depth. I don't know. What I do know is people are complaining about the water, the cleanliness of it. They were like, no one get the same river because we have an E. coli outbreak. I'm like, well, that river has always looked suspect anyway. Now, it's been years since I've been to Paris. I've been to Paris 2 or 3 times. I have not been in probably 2 decades. And let me tell you that the same river was always staining, okay? Anyway, I just had to get that off my chest real quick. I've been enjoying the Olympics. I'm glad to see that the United States got their act together against Serbia for men's basketball. I'm disappointed for Jordan Childs not being able to qualify for. She missed it by like less than a tenth, I think. Sunisa Lee just beat her out. I like Suni though too, but Jordan Childs is like she's just been so solid, and I just felt like that was a tough break. And of course, Simone qualified. But anyway, stay tuned. Keep reading up on the French shenanigans because clearly they don't know how to host an Olympics. By the way, I'm probably one of the few people who halfway liked the opening ceremony. A lot of people didn't. I didn't really care for the performers like Lady Gaga and her weirdness and some other stuff like that. But I'm just talking about the visual effects of like things being lit. I like how the people came in on boats. I thought that was different. Other than that, yes, I'm drinking a Dunkin' Donuts today. I did not make my own coffee. And it's already cold. Don't even get me started. I like my coffee hot. This is a latte, and they were so short staffed that the latte just kept sitting there. And I'm like, yo, my latte is not latte. Mm. Anyway, so that's all I have. Later, go ahead and comment and subscribe.